From the chart guys. I've been a trader and technical analyst for 20,000 hours, learning under Dan for a bunch of them. I'm here to talk about some crypto. Obviously, we had all of the excitement with the ETH ETF headline news, and now ETH is impressively holding on to its gains up at the highs. The hourly oversold back burner that we were talking about last stream ended up hitting, and that's what bulls like to see. But we will certainly go through what would some red flags start to look like, how would any downside manifest from here, and we'll just go through step by step talking about that. We do know that the ETFs obviously are not trading yet, and we don't have a start date for them to trade. So is ETH going to stay strong until these headlines or until these ETFs go live? That's kind of where my gut is at. But we'll look into the charts and see what we're looking like and really break things down, because even if ETH has something going on for itself, if everything else starts to come down, it's going to have a tough time with that. And then even from just a purely technical sense, there is an argument to be made for some ETH downside. So we will get into the charts here. Let me pull up Big Daddy Bitcoin. We'll start there, and then we will go through onto ETH. So looking at Bitcoin, big question here is, are we going right to new all-time highs, or are we going to get a weekly tightening range that could potentially last well into the summer? So for me, the big thing is going to be this daily 12 EMA. We're down testing it right now. We did get a little daily lower high, higher low, and higher high, and then we've fallen down through that support. So losing a little bit of clarity in that regard there. But plenty of clarity with the daily 12 EMA. As long as the daily 12 EMA is support, then the weekly move remains strong. What that means is that Bitcoin bulls need to show up here now if they want to hold this 12 EMA on the daily. So let's zoom in, see what we've got just sideways on the 4 hour. This is probably an hourly equilibrium, and it is. So we've got low, high, higher low, lower high. Bulls trying to shape up a higher low here compared to 67,529. If this hourly EQ breaks to the upside, then that is a hold of the daily 12 EMA. And then the next step would be bulls would need to regain a 4-hour uptrend. So if we break the hourly EQ to the downside, then we're pretty much just looking at 66,312, and that would increase the odds that we're going to stay within a weekly tightening range. So another element at play here is the broad market. And we've seen our major sectors within the S&P 500, they're falling off one by one into weekly consolidation, and it's pretty much semiconductors and the tech sector that remains strong. So if we look at the S&P 500 here, we know we had a very bearish day on Thursday, and we saw that same bearishness here in Bitcoin. If the S&P 500 loses that low of Thursday, which is still a good bit away here at this point, that will increase the odds that Bitcoin is going to tighten on up through potentially the summer. We'll just go one step at a time, but we'll just say we're going to tighten on up for a bit more because we're consolidating on the weekly. So watching that, it's the tech sector that's keeping everything strong. But if we look at XLV, that's some serious selling. That is weekly consolidation underway. We've got it underway in the Dow. We've got it underway in the Russell, got it underway in XLF, and those are the main components of the S&P 500. So it's just SMH and QQQ holding on. And I know y'all, or not all of you, but some of you really could care less about the S&P 500 and these other sectors, but the reality is that correlation matters. So we've got to be watching that as we evaluate probabilities on Bitcoin itself, as we look to see, I'll draw it out here, what it could look like, just coming on back and tightening on up for a bit. We do have room for a weekly higher low compared to these lows at 56,552. And the next big question would be, what does retracement look like? We know we've been battling this value area from back here, and bulls got up and over. They landed a clean back test right here and now have acceptance above. So there is a reality where I'm sitting here saying, oh, it's all about the daily 12 EMA. It's all about the daily 12 EMA. And then we lose that and then hold this value area high, set a quick weekly higher low, and move on. When something's a guide, it doesn't mean that the show's over, everyone batten up your hatches. if it's broken. It just means now we zoom out to the next time frame and we look at what are our guides there and just go step by step systemically day to day. And that's why you'll never hear Dan or myself really make predictions on stuff, because we get new info every day. So that's what we want to use and work into our analysis. So let me see here. I think I'm having issues with the YouTube. It's showing, let me grab my phone. It's showing almost no one's in here right now. So either nobody cares about crypto, which is fine. I would accept that, or I'm having issues on my end. So just trying to see what we've got going on. Seems like nobody cares about crypto, or there's an issue with my stream, but we got 44 folks in here. All-time low for stream numbers, but glad y'all are here and you're gonna get the juice. So that's the scene of what we're working with Bitcoin here. Now let's move on to Ethereum. Let's talk back about what we were talking about Thursday. Okay, David's here, y'all can hear me. That's good. That's the other thing, is like nothing in chat. So let's talk about Ethereum. Let's take a little step back to where we were on Thursday for this stream, basically talking about how the ideal situation would be daily consolidation before any announcement, have bulls hold hourly oversold conditions, and then go and confirm an hourly bull flag. So this line hasn't moved from the last stream. We were talking about how 12-hour 12 EMA, hourly oversold conditions. It's a prime spot for confluence. And we got the little shake and bake before the news, dinged that level, and then went on up. And we've kind of just been sashaying around since the news. But we have this relative strength remaining as bulls push to new highs and now potentially have a replay of the same play here. So let's go to the hourly. We'll turn on our RSI projector tool and bring hourly oversold up to there. And we see that we have hourly oversold in 12-hour 12 EMA lining up again here. So aggressive bulls looking for the show to go on here are looking at that. You can have the confluence of Bitcoin testing its daily 12 EMA and reason to believe that despite being weak right now, there's ammo for bulls to show up. Doesn't mean they gotta show up, but there's ammo for it. So keep an eyes on that 37.75 area if bears do follow through some more. And now that we've got the clean 12-hour 12 EMA test and hold, that's going to be our guide for tight bull control on this move up. And of course, if that is lost, then we're zooming out to the next time frame, which in this case would be the daily. And as long as daily 12 EMA is support, then the weekly move remains strong. So 12-hour 12 EMA is for like tight bull control. If that's lost, as long as daily 12 EMA is support, then the weekly remains fine. If we lose daily 12 EMA, that's when we say, all right, bears are defending the 2024 highs, and we're gonna have to zoom out and look for a weekly higher low. So in my mind, just kind of knowing how the market likes to dangle carrots and work towards narratives, I would think that there's decent ammo to believe that ETH is going to remain relatively strong until these ETFs start trading. And then, we'll cross that road. When we get there, we'll evaluate price action leading into the dates once we get defined dates, because if we get dates and they say, okay, June 15th, the ETFs are going to start trading, and we start to run up into that date, then we'll start to look for some sell the news type event, because the whole thing with this was we really didn't have a lot of time to price things in. And I think that's a big part of the reason why ETH is holding up well here right now. So there's other projections that the ETFs might not trade until August. If they're not going to trade till August, then I doubt ETH is going to be able to do its own thing, kind of keeping this hype and narrative alive until then. So we'll let the charts run the way, but we're going to, keep eyes on the fundamental elements and continue to evaluate our back burners as to how strong bulls are staying. So in a bubble, ETH/USD definitely doing great, holding on quite well compared to Bitcoin and plenty of other alts. But what I said in the beginning of there is some technical ammo, and actually I forgot something I was supposed to say at the beginning. So midstream plug, we've got a spring sale going on for the chart guys for the annual memberships. It is $200 off. It runs until Friday. If you've been thinking about the chart guys and joining, checking it out, it's a good time to get a deal on that. This is our Slack community. where most of the action's going down. Got our crypto rooms, which is what y'all would most likely be interested in. And this is just today here. All these posts, all these setups, folks working on stuff. You got your DMs where you can be communicating with people privately. And then, of course, we've got all the other stuff, the marijuana sector, general chat, which is just for whatever, swing trade, mindset, which is all psychology, community, where folks are just posting stuff about their lives and this and that. Of course, commodities, beginners questions. So if you go to chartguys.com, there's a lot more info on the offerings there. And I'm dropping the spring sale link in chat there. Almost forgot to say that. So what was I saying? All right, so we, ETH USD in a bubble looks fine, looks great. Bulls love that it wasn't a sell the news event immediately, and they love to bounce from hourly oversold backburner, and they like to go to new highs despite not seeing a ton of follow through. Once that went to new highs, Bitcoin was really topping out on its move. So it's kind of everything's moving together. But we're not going to lose track that ETH BTC is testing monthly 12 EMA, which has topped us out on our last 3 tests of it. And every time that we've come up here and tested it, ETH has been looking really great. But part of trading is having a bit of an imagination, being optimistic at times, but also being skeptical at times, and usually both at the same time. You got to paint the bear scenario, you got to paint the bull scenario. The bear scenario for ETH is that we just get another rejection from the monthly 12 EMA, and this relative strength that we've had over the past, since that headline came out, ends up just bleeding back down like these other ones. We've had nice moves, inability to get a weekly uptrend. Nice move, inability to get a weekly uptrend. That's what ETH needs here on the ratio chart to have us believe that this move is different. Need to get over monthly 12 EMA, and that would shape up a yearly higher low on the ratio chart. Bulls want to see that. They don't want to see what Matic BTC did. It was a very similar setup. If we look at the quarterly, tightening range, bear break, and then it's been relatively weak since then. ETH BTC, tightening range, bear break, but it's not seeing follow through. So right now, it's not like Matic BTC. And bulls love to see that because at the bottom here, it was looking a lot like it. So need the weekly uptrend. So if we're going to reject from monthly 12 EMA, what's going to be the first tangible sign that that's happening? It's going to be the same as it was back here. Once we lose daily 12 EMA, that's when we say, all right, there's a red flag. So we're way above that right now, and we're not even riding the 12-hour 12 EMA. We got an 8-hour 12 EMA rider. It'll just be the zoom out game on this ratio chart once that is lost. And daily 12 EMA is the key thing to hold to keep the show on the road. If we lose daily 12 EMA, it's not like the show's over. That just tells us weekly consolidation is shaping up. And then we'll watch retracement size on the weekly time frame. So say it happens from here, we'd have a fib pulled like that, and bulls would want to hold the 382 for the strongest look, which also aligns with this previous resistance. So that is what bulls want to hold. That's what bulls want to hold. The ultimate line in the sand is the 50% retrace, because once you get beyond that, odds favor a lower high on the next bounce. But we'll continue to watch ETH BTC because it must come along and stay strong if ETH USD is going to be a place that's worth having our money. So it certainly has been since the news came out. How long that lasts, time will tell. So let's go back to ETH USD and break down some shorter time frame stuff. Maybe 15-minute downtrend for clarity. Yeah. So 15-minute downtrend, 15-minute 12 EMA resistance. Got to get up and over that to get an hourly bounce underway. Then got to regain an hourly uptrend to say that a 12-hour higher low is shaping up. And again, as long as bulls hold the 12-hour 12 EMA, that is healthy. If we lose the 12-hour 12 EMA and say do actually make our way down to the daily 12 EMA, which let's put a line on that. Let's see, what is that? Alt-H? Yeah. So say we do pull back to the daily 12 EMA. We'll just go ahead and label it so we don't get confused. We would have to be cautious of a head and shoulders. We could have a left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder. And if that were to confirm, that'd be some weekly consolidation getting underway. So a couple scenarios there that we got to keep eyes on. let's see, we won't really waste time on LTC. It is just chopping around here sideways. We usually look at LTC as a metric for what are the turds doing, and turds are chopping around sideways right now. LTC BTC will remain a turd as long as weekly 12 or LTC USD will remain a turd as long as weekly 12 EMA is resistance on LTC BTC. So that's that. Really, you want to know where the action is, and this is just so funny in the crypto space. It's the meme coins. You know, fundamentals this, fundamentals that. People love to flock to these meme coins, and they remain super strong. So Pepe is just continuing to chug along up through blue skies. You know, little red on the day-to-day, seeing some rotation within the meme coin space. But Pepe, maybe an 8-hour 12 EMA rider for Pepe will be the zoom out game once that is lost. And again, how you can use these EMA riders, you can use it as a location to go long and make your plays off of that. Say like, all right, I'm like basically anytime you're trading, you have your task and then you have your tools. Your task is I'm looking for an 8-hour high or low off the 12 EMA. Your location is baked into your task, because that tells you when it's time for your task, like whether it be oversold RSI levels or an EMA that you're riding. That's your task. And then your tool is your bottom fish, your stair step, your falling wedge, your inverse head and shoulders. You need both parts for any trade. And you know, we're in an area right now where you look into your tool bag and you say, all right, what kind of tools do I have to use here? So that could have been a bottom fish. You know, one of your tools is a bottom fish at the 8-hour 12 EMA. And if you took that, you can already be risk-free. So another tool, what would need to present itself now? You know, if we continue to tighten up and have this big EQ, you're good to go for a bottom fish again. But beyond that, I don't really see any tools presenting themselves at the moment. And the biggest thing with this is we don't get to pick our tools. The market picks the tools, presents the tools, and then it's up to us to identify what tool is viable here. You can't say that like, oh, I want to take a stair step because stair steps are my favorite. I mean, you can say that, but if you gotta be open to what the market is giving us. We gotta take what the market's giving us, not what we want from the market. So Pepe, nice and strong. Turbo, obviously, absolute beast. Blue skies, just continuing to go. We know how these shows end. Who did it last? We won't waste. Was it TRB that was going crazy? Yeah, so TRB, big time move, and eventually, 33% off of that pretty quickly. And if you look at that 4-day stretch, 30% pretty quickly. So you don't want to get caught with your pants down, but find an EMA that you're riding. You know, the daily is going to be the ultimate guide here, but we've no doubt got smaller time frame EMAs in play before that. Got 4-hour, and then even before that, we probably got 2-hour. So, we already talked about how do you make plays off these EMA riders. The other tier of that is, do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to be a conservative? Not a conservative. Do you want to be conservative? If you're being conservative, you're waiting for a larger time frame EMA. If you want to be aggressive, you're doing the smaller time frame EMA. And you can do all of them on the way down. You just got to make sure you stop out of your aggressive attempts and not just like permascale into the conservative levels. So turbo, beasting, bonk, going up, testing all-time highs. This could certainly be a cup and handle psychology. If we go up, reject from all-time highs, get a bull flag on the daily, 2-day, even weekly in this context, we could have a cup and handle. And that key resistance there is 47.49.81. WIF is doing something. I mean, it's green on the day, but can't really make much sense of this price action. And a huge part as traders, like of the things we need to focus on is clarity. You can see it's up 7.5% on the day. That's great, but larger picture context, we don't have a ton to go off of. So that's when you just zoom in and work on your smaller time frames. 4-hour 12 EMA support, 4-hour uptrend. You can just slot yourself in there. So those are the main coins that are doing well. I think Flocky, is that spelled right? Hold on a second. FLOKI. Flocky's doing the same thing. Yeah, I mean, look at that chart for Flocky. And then that for WIF, the last few days, almost identical. But let's zoom out on Flocky. I don't really chart this one that much. So up testing blue skies, holding weekly 12 EMA, and that could be the same cup and handle type thing if we reject from this 31, what is that, 31.38.7, and just riding the daily 12 EMA. So meme coins are where it's at right now. And DEX coins are also doing decent. We had all those 2-day EQs, and most of them that broke bull aren't seeing follow through, which again is the early sign of potential 2-week lower highs shaping up. But for our 2-day EQs that did see follow through, Uni, one of the best with follow through there. Sushi wasn't really the EQ, but it continues to slink on up. 1 inch is the weakest of the bunch, but we're seeing rotation because it wasn't going with the other DEX coins. And then now today it's starting to go while we have a little softness in the other ones. So CRV kind of fits into that category as well. And UNFI, beautiful follow through on that. So you compare that to some of these other 2-day EQ names that broke bull. We know that Sol broke bull early, had a bunch of follow through. RNDR broke early, had a bunch of follow through. Link broke early on news, had a bunch of follow through. But beyond that, most of them look like this, looking at Ox. FTM, actually one of the better follow throughers. DOT, that's not a lot of follow through. Potential rising wedge. AVAX, not a lot of follow through. AAVE, that is decent follow through. Lots of room for a daily higher low. AGIX, not a lot of follow through. ETC, decent follow through, obviously, with the relation to Ethereum. Ocean, almost no follow through. And CTSI, not a lot of follow through at this point. ZEC, another one with decent follow through. And GMT, let's get GMT out of here. It actually wasn't really the cleanest 2-day EQ. It got the honorary positioning, and I'm revoking it because it doesn't really look like an EQ. So yeah, these coins not seeing follow through. It's 2-week lower highs if we truly continue to not see follow through. And speaking of 2-week lower highs and kind of connecting back to the meme coins, Doge is in that same category. You could say it was a 2-day EQer. I'm liking the daily right now. But what do we look for when we see higher highs without follow through? There's 2 things that we could be looking for. One is a bear flag. If you see a trend change without follow through, that can tell you bear flag. The other thing, and what's applicable here, that you look for when you see higher highs without follow through is a rising wedge. So higher high, no follow through. Higher high, no follow through. Is that a higher high here the second time? Either double top or slight higher high, no follow through. That tells us that bulls are exhausting. They're running out of steam, and bears are playing defense. If this daily rising wedge on Doge USD breaks bear, that's likely a quick 2-week lower high shaping on up here. So if Doge is going to save it, need Doge BTC to come along. So that's just a tightening range. Tightening EQ here, that's got to break to the upside if Doge USDT is not going to top on out here through this falling or rising wedge, excuse me. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at here. Or we'll go through, look at our strong coins. So Sol, stronger, bigger picture here, but the big question on Sol, it's another 2-week time frame name. A lot of alts right now. Clarity is on the 2-week, where we basically got these 2-week higher lows right off the 12 EMA. Sol got it. RNDR got it. Did Doge get it as well? Where'd you go, Doge? Yeah, Doge, another 2-week 12 EMA-er. So check whatever charts you're trading and see if the 2-week has more clarity than the weekly right now. But the question on Sol is this a 2-week bull flag that's going to take us through 210.18, or are we going to tighten on up here and be looking back down to 116? So if bears confirm a daily downtrend from here, that will increase odds that a 2-week lower high is shaping up on Sol USD. So anything below the high of this bounce, 188.89, would be a daily lower high. And then the question would be, can bears do that? So that's what we got going on Sol week daily bounce at this point. But when you consider the context of what some other coins are doing out there today, it's not the worst thing. Got some relative strength, and you can see that with Sol BTC. So the thing that continues to just dazzle me is RNDR is still just holding this base of support here. So we know that, and have been saying it for couple weeks now. That's the clear line in the sand for RNDR. And that, 975 level-ish, just kind of viewing it as a zone as we pop below a few times without follow through. So whether you want to be precise with it and take like your highest hold and then your lowest hold and say, that's the zone we're looking at, 75 to 86. I prefer just to kind of mark the lowest one and know that it wouldn't be shocking to not see follow through on the break of that. But we're just sashaying along here. Bulls are in control as long as that is support. If that is lost, that would be our 2-week lower high looking to shape on up compared to all-time highs 1383. So bulls going to keep playing off of it as long as it works. And bears know what their go signal is to be looking short on this thing. So if we do see some daily bounce, could be like a drawn out daily head and shoulders where aggressive bears would be looking for that lower high, a little better risk to reward to try to come back down and break support. And the other option would be looking to get short on a support break. Bulls or bears looking for that definitely like this 4-hour EQ that we've got going here, because just what we talked about on the daily, you could do something like that on the 4-hour. Say you're looking to play off 1040, look for a lower high here and then hope to get the bear break down from there. And all of these things correlate. So even if you're looking to short RNDR, you obviously want to see Bitcoin coming down and staying in a weekly tightening range. And with that, you want to see the broad market coming down and just seeing some weekly consolidation. So it's all correlated, part of the same machine here. So Link doing great. So you remember I was like, this is the ideal environment for a top fish looking to stay within this tightening range because we were so extended into the break. But if it was going to get the break, then 15-minute consolidation would be healthy and bulls would keep the show on the road. That's ultimately what we saw, and we've seen much further upside after breaking out of that. So daily 12 EMA going to be our guide on Link. And let's look at what our context is here. So we are going to be looking for a 2-week lower high, so can't get too gung-ho, but there's still a decent bit of space up to that nearly 25%. We can go further and still get a 2-week lower high. So daily 12 EMA going to be the guide there, and 4-hour 12 EMA acting as support ahead of that. So it would have to lose 4-hour 12 EMA to zoom out and look at the daily 12 EMA. Have to lose daily 12 EMA to get some weekly consolidation underway and be first step of that 2-week lower high. All right, that's all I've got. Let's see what y'all are looking at. We got Bongi Mania wants to look at near. Let's see what we got for near. So near looks like we were watching a rising wedge on it that is trying to break bear right now, but let's zoom out a little bit before we look at that. We know we got a monthly stair step. We've got weekly 12 EMA, and we're just slinking on upwards with that 12 EMA as support. So bears would have to take out 653 with some follow through for us to say, all right, we've got a character change, and that's the first sign of monthly consolidation. So if that's going to happen, first sign of taking out weekly 12 EMA would be breaking this wedge to the downside. Bears are trying, but they've got to take out 733 if it's going to be believable. So if 733 is taken out and we break out from this wedge, then weekly consolidation is underway. We're looking back to that weekly 12 EMA, and aggressive bulls are going to be looking for the show to go on, looking to play off weekly 12 EMA. We know we've got relative strength compared to a lot of peers when we're talking about proximity to the April lows. And the question, as always, is how long can that continue? We know it doesn't continue forever, but we also know in the crypto space of all spaces that things can go a lot further than we anticipate. So no real clarity on the daily in the short term. Our wedge is nice and clear, but as far as pinning down this action, had a little 4-hour megaphone that we still could be in. We still certainly could be in if bulls show up right now. And basically when you have megaphones like that, it's difficult to find clarity. So most important thing when we don't have clarity is that we don't feign clarity. So could do 12-hour downtrend, maybe a bit better on the 8. No, we'll stick with 12. We got a little 12-hour downtrend, ultimately in a choppy sideways range. We got another megaphone, kind of. Or is this? Give me a moment. sometimes you get something that starts as a megaphone and then it ends up turning into a diamond. Hold on, I gotta hide some lines. Wouldn't be the prettiest diamond, I don't think. But I do believe, basically, when you have a megaphone, yeah, dude, this is not pretty. This is like the stuff that TA folks end up getting crap about. I'm gonna delete the lines off there because the lines are often just a visual guide, anyways. The main thing is that when you have this expanding range where your higher highs and lower lows aren't seeing follow through, and that shifts into a tightening range, that's when you get the diamond. And it typically has this like move down to new lows and then move up to new highs in the middle of it. So you got a few reasons to believe that weekly consolidation is shaping up here. All right, Mississippi Matt cares about the S&P 500, my dude. Let's see, Glenn says maybe people are recovering from the long weekend. Perhaps. I know I am a little bit. Yeah, kind of take a few days off. You gotta shake off a little rust before you get back in it. Let's see, what do I think about FTM? I think it's been doing pretty decent, right? Yeah, it was a 2-day EQer. Is FTM not on the watch list? I don't think so. Let's get it in there. That was a 2-day EQer that broke bull and saw, oh, it was on the watch list somewhere. I just got rid of it. 2-day EQer that broke bull and is holding on pretty decent compared to some of the other bull breakers. So let's get our 2-week context. So yet another 2-week 12 EMA or 2-week high or low. And the question would be bull flag or not. And if it's going to not be the bull flag, I do like the 2-day continued here because we had the 12 EMA as resistance all the way down, and now we have bulls trying to hold it as support. So we'll use the 2-day 12 EMA guide on FTM USDT. If that's at our feet, then bulls remain in favor to keep the 2-week bounce going. If we lose 2-day 12 EMA, then a 2-week lower high is shaping up, and we're looking back down to 2-week 12 EMA. So within here, a little daily tightening range, high, low, lower high, bulls trying to shape up a higher low. Have decent relative strength on the day. Got to break 85.18 to say, all right, that's another hold of the 2-day 12 EMA. And we're just looking back up to 96.57. So that's pretty much that. Let's look at our hourly. Well, that's not that helpful. Let's see. So if bulls want to get that daily higher low set, we'll need the 4-hour uptrend from here. So got to go back up and break 83.58, and then we'd be looking to that daily lower high resistance. But definitely saw solid follow through out of its tightening range bull break, but also has given back a lot. And that looks very similar to Sol, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, big move up and then down and kind of pitter pattering around. So when you have coins that look kind of similar, you can be looking for clues from peers. So if we see a bunch of 2-week lower highs starting to shape up on these 2-day EQ bull breakers that didn't see follow through, it's going to increase the odds that others are going to shape up. If we see names like RNDR and Sol and FTM fend off weekly consolidation, hold their key EMAs, or in the case of RNDR, its key zone, and then go to new bounce highs, then that's when we start to look at the names that didn't see follow through as potential laggards and that the space can continue on. So, that's looking at other alts. Obviously, looking at Bitcoin is going to be crucial as well. If Bitcoin enters weekly consolidation, alts going to be hard pressed to fend it off. And that brings me to Bitcoin dominance, because we're in a key location right now. As I've been saying for a while, another 2-week 12 EMA is my guide here on Bitcoin dominance. What alt bulls want to see is they want to see that lost. They want to see Bitcoin see healthy sideways consolidation, and then alts one by one pop, and we get some rotation into alts. What they don't want to see is Bitcoin see unhealthy consolidation, bleed out, and alts bleed out with it, but slower. That's not fun. Another option here could be if Bitcoin dominance holds 2-week 12 EMA and goes back up, what bulls would want to see is Bitcoin leading the way to another leg higher and getting new all-time highs. What they don't want to see is Bitcoin coming down and alts coming down harder than Bitcoin. That would be the worst case scenario in the space. Would be, well, not worst case scenario, but in terms of Bitcoin dominance, that's what bulls in the space don't want to see, is a bounce from 2-week 12 EMA and that being the whole space going down and alts leading the way down. Because Bitcoin dominance has more or less mirrored the Bitcoin chart since the 2022 lows, just because it's been the Bitcoin show. And we've had periods where alts catch rotation and this and that. But as far as dominance really showing us, where we are in a cycle sense, it's just been the Bitcoin show. And obviously what everybody wants is this, where you get the dominance just collapse and a full-blown alt season. So no signs of it yet. First sign would be loss of 2-week 12 EMA. All right. We got more S&P 500 fans. Let's see. Star Pakro wants to take a look at TIA. Might be coming back onto the map. I saw it had relative strength today, right? Yeah, it does. It does. So we're looking for a monthly higher low on TIA. And we finally got a weekly bounce underway, and we're testing weekly 12 EMA. So there's ammo that this could be the end of it, and we just reject from these bear-crossed EMAs, and bears maintain control. What bulls need to do is see a weekly uptrend from here, but can't talk about a weekly uptrend until we start consolidating on the weekly. And at this point, we've got a ton of room for a daily higher low compared to 860. What bulls really want to see is push through that weekly 12 EMA, because at this point, I wouldn't say that like a weekly higher low is well in favor, but if we get a push up like that, then we're for sure looking for a weekly higher low. So it's probably a 4-hour 12 EMA rider. Not quite. Not quite. Let's see. I guess the 2-hour 12 EMA is the cleanest thing that we've got to work with right now. And then if that's lost, it'd be zoom out game to the 4-hour 12 EMA. But what do we got? Work with the hourly uptrend. Say hourly uptrend would need to be lost to see some 4-hour consolidation. Then anything over 989 would be a higher low. And 4-hour 12 EMA would need to be lost to see daily consolidation, where then anything over 860 would be a daily higher low. I think that's the framework we'll go with. You can watch the 2-hour 12 EMA rider for, location on maybe a 4-hour higher low buy. But as far as structure, I care more about the 4-hour 12 EMA in this context. Let's see. Oh, Ondo. I meant to talk about Ondo. We didn't talk about any of our blue sky coins. So Ondo ended up getting that cup and handle psychology that we talked about a few weeks ago, maybe last week, and nice move into new blue sky. So no resistance overhead, certainly looking like a daily bull flag. And you could make an argument that this is like a kind of a sloppy inverse head and shoulders. If bulls can break 125.516, you could also say it's a little bit of a falling channel. We'll slop that on there. No, we'll be precise, because you could probably draw it as a channel or a wedge. I feel like it's got more of the spirit of a channel, something like that. But you got the lower lows without follow through. We can probably finagle that in there, and that there, bring that down there. And this is what I'm doing right now is the perfect example of why trend lines are subjective. And we don't want to really be trading right off of them. It's mainly to help us, one, identify psychological elements present, like lower lows without follow through, higher highs without follow through, and two, just kind of give us a loose guide of what is the status quo. It can be implemented the same way that we use these EMAs. So bottom line is that if bears were going anywhere with confidence, when they broke this level of 118.727, they would have seen some follow through, not gone right into a bounce. So if bulls regain the 4-hour uptrend, which they could do from here with a break of 125.516, then that would be the daily high or low shaping up and a potential daily bull flag, and just have us looking at 133 all-time high resistance. We'll go back and look at SHIB. The only meme coin that didn't get looked at. So how'd SHIB do with its 2-day EQ? It's another one of the bull breakers without much follow through. So maybe we see rotation through the meme space and Doge and SHIB actually catch a bid, similar to how we've got 1inch finally catching a bid in the DEX area, if you will. But SHIB, not a lot going on. It's just a sideways, it's a sloppy sideways range. So bears playing short off the highs, bulls playing long off the lows. And until this ultimately resolves with some follow through one way or the other, we don't really have a lot to say on SHIB. If it goes to the upside, then the weekly or the monthly stair step remains intact. 2-week high or low set off 12 EMA. I'm telling you, when you see this, where like, all right, RMDR has clarity on the 2-week. Sol has clarity on the 2-week. You can bet your bottom dollar that there's a lot of coins that are going to have clarity on the 2-week, and SHIB's just another to add to the list. 2-week 12 EMA. So we do have our higher low set, but bulls need to follow through on the range to have us not looking at this as a 2-week, I hesitate to call anything like coming off the highs like this and holding EMAs a bear flag, because it's just not really the nature of a bear flag. Bear flag is you got your big move down and then a weak bounce, and then you're looking for a continuation. So I'm not going to call it a bear flag, but what I will say is that unless bulls can get over the 0.5 retrace, then odds will be in bear's favor to be able to confirm a 2-week downtrend and get monthly consolidation underway. So not a lot to say on the smaller timeframes though. Just no clarity. No clarity. We can talk about what's resistance, 26.11, and then key resistance is 28.20. As far as supports, we've got 23.39, then looking at 21.56, 20.57, and that's pretty much that. All right, let's look at FET. So FET, another 2-day EQer that broke bull and didn't see much follow through, and is now retraced more than 50% of the way down. So that increases the odds, and what do you know, another 2-week 12 EMA. That increases the odds of a very quick 2-week lower high here. And when I say that increases the odds, I'm talking about retracing more than 50% of this move up, because essentially what that does is now it gives bears room for a 2-day lower high to try to confirm a 2-day downtrend and get the 2-week lower high set. So not the reaction bulls would want to see, and relative weakness since that top back there on the 22nd. Let's see, Tomato is curious what percentage of my trades are swing trades and overnight versus day trade. In terms of like number of trades, I would say it's like 95% day trades, 5% swing trades. But that's because once you get a swing off the ground, you don't have to like continue to trade it. So I pretty much always have swings on, which wasn't always the case. For a long time, I was cash at the end of every night. But the last 2 years or so, I've really been focusing on my swing game. So yeah, it's a little bit of a loaded question in terms of like bandwidth and activity. Definitely way more goes into day trades, but by nature, swing trades, you have to put way less in. Like when it's time to get my swing trades off the ground, like when I got my NVDA monthly high or low swing off the ground from back here, it was this day, and it was the only thing I traded that day, churning the position, getting it set up, getting it going. So basically when I'm initiating a swing, that will take my full focus for the day, because I use my day trade skill sets to get the swing trade off the ground and, enter since I'm so accustomed to high leverage through futures, when I'm trading in my stock account, I'll very often just be all in. Don't take that as a sign that like you should be all in. It's basically because my risk management tactics have evolved around using serious leverage through the index and commodities futures markets. So then when I'm just not using any leverage and deploying those same tactics, like of course I want to be all in. But when I'm doing that, I'm taking half after a specific amount of move to get my risk out of the equation. Then I'm taking more and I'm adding back. And I think I made 5 or 6 trades on NVDA this day to get my position. I wasn't able to get my average below the low, but it was close. I think I had like 761 or something was my average by the time it was all said and done. And then now it just does its thing, and I let it go. Another example of that was Zim, which I kind of fumbled Zim a bit, or not fumbled, but caved. I struggle to hold these things, and I'm struggling with NVDA right now. I almost sold it this morning, but I got in Zim on like this day, I believe, or maybe it was this day. It was one of these 2 days, and traded it a bunch that day, getting it positioned, and then I ended up selling here at historic daily overbought, and I wanted to reload a weekly higher low, and we just held daily 12 EMA and kept going. So another swing I've got on right now is Tesla, and that involved an earnings play, but basically coming into this value area that has been reactive for a while, I just started building a position in this, and fortunately earnings helped, not hurt. But the only reason I was holding into those earnings comfortably in a red position at the time is because I was looking for a 3-month higher low and would have been down to buy more lower. So, and then I got some MJ. I think that's all I've got right now. Yeah, that's the crew. That's the crew for now. Let's see, let's get chat back up. Let's see, Max, any advice on breakout trading? Checked your webinar, but breakout trading was missing. That's because it's not an edge of mine, so I don't have a lot of advice on it. It doesn't vibe well with my personality and strengths and weaknesses. The one thing that I would say, because obviously, being in the chart guys and all of this, I definitely know a lot about everything. And at this point, the tactics that I deploy are pretty refined because they're what vibe with me. But the biggest thing with breakout trading is that your risk to reward ends up being kind of sketchy because, talking about like these 2-day EQs, all of these EQs that broke out and then didn't see follow through. If you played a breakout play on that, you're hopefully getting stopped out quickly. I guess the point of what I'm saying is your stop has to be decently close. You're reliant on continued follow through. So if you're looking for continued follow through, you want to see volume and you want to see smaller time frames have healthy retracement and see continuation through. So that's kind of the scene with it as far as increasing your odds of not getting stopped out when you're taking a breakout trade. You typically want to sell a portion very quick. So if we just look at say you're playing this, we'll go back to the 12-hour for that inverse head and shoulders we were watching. Obviously in hindsight, this one worked fine. It got plenty of follow through, but say you are looking to take that, the breakout above 64 or 63.5, you enter 63.501 or something like that. And then at, 63.8 or something, you're chopping very quickly. And let's actually go into the smaller time frame and see how this played out. Yeah, see, it can be kind of tough. So this was our breakout level. Say you buy that, you get a nice move up. You want to be selling into that move up, because then if you entered on the break and you sold, say 63 or just say 64, then your average is close to 63, and you can put your stop right there, break even. Because if you buy this break and you don't sell anything and then you come back At the low of this candle, you're not feeling good. You're like, did I just buy the top? It's just not going to see follow through. So if you're buying a break, you want to sell half quick and then have a better average. That increases your odds of being able to stay in the trade. So there's market environments for breakout trading where I will do it more. Like, you know, when we have like full-blown cannabis euphoria, I'm definitely more inclined to, or will be more inclined to take some breakout trades and stuff like that. In 2021 crypto alts, I would take breakout or breakdown trades, but my day-to-day stuff, I'm more of a dip buyer and a rip shorter than a support shorter or resistance buyer. Let's see, XMR USD on the daily. This we'll do this index for it. So this is like we'll get to the daily, but the monthly context. Hold on a minute. Why does that look so different? I guess it's the weekly context. I zoomed out too far. So we've got a weekly equilibrium, and we're looking for a weekly lower high compared to 153. The daily is just slugging up along the daily 12 EMA. So that's the guide there. As long as daily 12 EMA is support, then no weekly lower high is shaping up. I'm astonished that this is not a monthly tightening range with how many days are in here. I mean, I guess it kind of is low, high, higher, low, but I thought for sure that'd be a clear monthly EQ. It's just a weekly though. So yeah, you're just using daily 12 EMA rider. As long as that is support, bulls are in control, but we can anticipate that odds are decent for that to be lost sooner than later if we're going to get that weekly lower high compared to 153. And that's pretty much that. Let's see, QuickT, are there any tutorials for beginners to get started on futures trading you'd recommend? What is the best way to get started? Chartgal Lori did a webinar a couple years back. Let me find the link for it because I don't know if it's public on the YouTube channel or not. I'll find it in Slack and I'll drop it in here. So that'd be a decent place to start. Beyond that, I don't really have any recommendations. I kind of just learned personally through just getting in there personally. The biggest thing with futures is discipline needs to be a strength. If discipline is not a strength, you will get smoked out because, you know, we talk about leverage and like think back to the FTX days and Binance's more reckless days. We had 100x leverage, 100x leverage, 101x leverage. There's some futures contracts that at certain times are 500x leverage. So it's just, you know, you can see very easily how quickly you can get absolutely destroyed. And even if you're not using leverage like that, like when you start talking 20, 30, 50 times leverage, it's just, it can be catastrophic. And the big thing with that is you just have to trade differently. I trade my futures account in a completely different way than I trade crypto. And you know, that was a stylistic change that I had to make in 2020 when I got into futures. That's when I really started grinding the stair steps, or you know, researching stair steps and working on that strategy. That was a result of needing to have a stop close because I'm leveraging into the you know what's. Yep, Ryan V's got the name of the game here. Will BTC hold daily 12 EMA? Question of the day. Can be all, well, we had a little hourly EQ that's now broken bare without follow through. It's not a bad look for bulls. Springing it back up. Now it's just a zoom out game. Got to regain a 5-minute uptrend, then 15, then hourly, then 4 hour. Let's see if ETH got that hourly oversold tag. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. So let's see if bulls can do it. It's going to be the same as Bitcoin. Got to get 5-minute uptrend, 15-minute uptrend. If you playing off of this level, you can certainly be risk-free. I don't know if there is really a lot of ammo to play right off of it. I would say maybe this bear break without follow-through, 2-minute stair step is decent, could be risk-free. But I mean, if you're talking about a 12-hour high or low, there's nothing wrong with a 5-minute stair step here. You don't even got to stair step into it. You can say, all right, bulls, prove something, then I'm going to fish a higher low and get that. But fortune favors the bold in the markets. And if you were bold on this hourly oversold mapped out at the beginning of the stream, then you're chilling. All right. Speaking of Chart Gal Lori webinars, she's got one this Thursday on eliminating bad trading habits. So that is going to be Thursday at 5 p.m. Definitely tune into that. Let me see if I can find the link for that. I can pull it up. Give me a moment. We'll get that link. We'll drop it in chat. So yeah, lots of stuff going on right now. We got that summer sale. That summer sale is live now until Friday. Lori's webinar is Thursday at 5 p.m. All right, I got the link here. Addressing Bad Trading Habits. Free webinar with Miss Lori herself. Link is in the chat. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed and you like info like this, someone can drop a line and tell you where the bottom's going to be. That's a lie. It's just probabilities, and it's just this is how the game works. Like, that's how we do it. It certainly doesn't always play out like this, but if you like it, give a subscribe. If you hate it, see you next time. Hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Got to get to a Chart Guys stream here for members in 15 minutes, and I will see y'all next time, probably Thursday. Adios.